First of all, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I apologize for the mishap that happened earlier. For some reason, Sky was way too unfriendly and I could not be able to share my screen. Anyways, as I said, I'm going to do a small video clip and then send it across. Starting off with the euro. I did end up posting over the LinkedIn and to the group that first true target of the break of the bear flag got tested around 106.75.80, and we on a small bounce out here. Considering or actually going forward, I'm actually looking at point out here. This, as mentioned over the Monday, that we have a downwardy trend, downwardy channel that eventually got broken up on the NFP, and we almost got a retest out here, a failure, posted a minor new low, which the lows were actually the full target of the initial target of the bear flag breakout. So trying to go and retest back out here, probably about 108.90ish once again, and we do have draggy coming in about 4 or 5 hours, so let's see if we can break it. And in case if it does break it, we have a tentative target coming in about I would assume somewhere around 108.75, 108.80. But actually what it does is that, let me do it this way so it makes it easier. So this is a patch of a target. It's nothing, I won't consider it as a main resistance trend line, but something that I can use to take my target, probably watching for a swing back down from here. This is considering we end up breaking on the higher side and shooting back up. So this is the point of impact where I would assume the first target would come in around 108.70ish, 108.80ish, and would expect a little bit decline, probably, if it's a severe decline, then probably come back and retest the whole thing out here, probably back to about 107.70ish, 107.80ish, and then start seeing if it can get a rebound, and the rebounds back would take us to the full ultimate target of 109.50ish. And this target is nothing more than the same thing on the daily. That's the breakout zone, that would consider that it's going to go and retest the full thing out here. So whether it does it or does not, I think pretty much depends on what Draghi has to say. But let's try to take some educated guess on what the other pairs are up to. And before we do that, we go and start off with the dollar. But actually, in case we end up breaking on the lower side here, then I think we'll be setting up for a drop down towards 105.90ish probably. Yeah, I'm looking at it on this trend line. The whole theme is that while the price is under the bear flag break, it needs to post a new low than the one that we posted around 104 and change, whatever the number that was. Let me quickly look at it. But 104, let's say 104.60, so it needs to make a newer low than 104.60. My apparently big target on the break, if it sustains the break, if it starts staying on the lower side, it comes down all the way down to about 102.20ish. That was on the weekly chart, and I posted it. But apparently, as of for right now, 106.70, decent, or I would say pretty good supportive trend line. Decent enough that it can provoke a break on the higher side. That would be depending on what Draghi has to say. Dovish, bullish, quantitative easing is there to stay, so it's not going to be any change out there. But then let's see what it hints, because any more implication on or a hint that we can possibly see some rate cuts agenda going back into his team, then I would assume this will break in and we'll probably go and test it around 105, actually 105.80ish. That would probably get a test today, and for the day, for short-term swing moves, that would be point I can consider to go in long. And upside target already mentioned. Dollar, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. in terms that possible bull flag move on the dollar, so it's hinting a little bit more on the higher side. It's getting choppy out. Today the US will be off, so let's see how it goes. But apparently the bigger picture is that this consolidated zone where it came and tried in for the last 5 6 months apparently ended breaking it, breaking it, and the upside target is still there towards, there's still some catch up for the dollars due to hit the prime target out here, and above that it comes down to a territory that I cannot at the moment decipher on the charts, but my assumption is that there has to be some kind of pullbacks coming in. So with the view that it can probably come back and retest where it broke out, but prior it doing that, it probably can go and hit on the higher side. At least the assumption that I'm getting on from the bull flag that it is showing. Not a very good looking bull flag, but nevertheless, there was a choppy price action going in yesterday. Way too choppy for my liking, and I probably, they were feeling the same thing. Did maintain a breakout, but did not sustain it. Pierce under, but that did not sustain it. So it's, can use it as a reference, but it's something not that I'm going to trade. But the indication is there that it can probably go and hit on the higher side. So with that in mind, I'll keep an open mind. But apparently, I would be looking for some kind of retrace coming back and retesting here, either falling back under, indicating the whole move on the higher side was a fake, and it was probably driven by the NFP numbers. And we'll see, unless Feds come back and start beating down the drum that rate hikes are coming, and if the probability can go above 85 or 90% that in fact they will stand to what they're talking about, then probably I would assume a retest. I would assume a test coming back towards the higher side coming in. With that said, I'm going to quickly move down to Swiss franc, so maybe it can give us a better idea. See, this is the candle that I was looking at, and I think the actual break would be somewhere around here. Yeah. So this is where the actual breakout came in. This is what the first impact was. So we got a trend line on the first impact swing, and then retest. Then NFP came in and broke in on the higher side. So true reflection of the dollar, and the Swiss is also on the higher side. And where or how far it can go, let's see. I think we can do something from here. Yeah, it tells me it can go and probably, actually not just go and probably, but more likely it needs to go and retest another attempt towards this trend line. But the flow of move, or the way it is coming on, it does show that, it can do something like this. So it's easier if I do it like this, easier for people to understand that it's probably going to do something like this, head back here and then come back here. So there I'm expecting a swing move around this zone, that notch up higher, then a retest back here, then probably let it bounce back, and then I would assume it will break down. It's just that these are the kind of setup that I've seen again and again. Unless we think the dollar is ready to go and start swinging, not swinging, start carrying on with the upswing higher and higher, and draw down new territories. Otherwise, I think this is a good move. This is a good move on the Swiss franc to come back. Make an impact on the high, maybe lure a lot of traders into thinking that extremely bullish dollar, but then turning around and breaking and coming down, and at least getting a retest down to around 97.50, or by the time it comes in, maybe 10-15 pips, probably more on the lower side. So I would say 97.40, 97.50 retest would not be a bad idea. But before we do that, we can probably have a swing on the higher side. It's just the way the charts are set up, and probably can think will come down to something like a channel like that, or probably actually this would be better. It's not exactly a wedge, but more of a channel. So maybe decline here a little bit and then swing back on the higher side and then look for it to start holding. That's probably my zone of, you know, pre-attempting shots probably around from 101.30ish, 101.40ish, depending, the longer it takes to come down, maybe another 2 3 days, then probably, maybe up to 101.50ish. So these are the zone that I will be looking up for. So that does imply that, euro inside out chance probably going to break lower and probably do about 105.70, 105.80ish. But again, so as for the euro is clear, maybe 106.65.70 under, then you can have a assumption that it's ready to go and fall for another 70-80 pips. Otherwise, the potential for a break on the higher side persists. Do we see on the 4 hours? Pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. Stick with the 8 hour chart. It looks good. And see what the pound has to say. Pound, people who are following me, they would have seen and did indicate it that initially 50-20 should be the time, would be the number that needs to look out for. Gave it a good bounce, but then again today we got some hard hitting data from UK in less than about an hour, so let's see how it goes in. But a full retrace, considering that the numbers are good and it adds to it, probably I would assume full retrace will be coming down towards 5,300. But as of right now, this is another one. As of right now, I think inside I challenge that it can probably spike down towards here, and this is another break structure. Again, depending on the news, how it goes in. So taking trend line from here, taking a trend line from here, getting an impact, swing, retest, a little bit on the higher side before dropping and carrying it. So apparently, it's still, though the 4 hour candle started turning bearish and indicating that, the retrace just might be over, but then look at the factor from the point of view that the news can do some impact, and probably 52, I would say around 52.20 zone is still there that can come down, getting into a play up, but a full swing up would be something close to 5,300. That would be your ideal spot to go in short. Just like the euro, 1950, 1960 would be the zone. I would say ideal zone. That's in case we get a better retrace, that would imply that the dollar is going and coming back, retesting the break zone. Though it does show an implication that it can actually go on the higher side. So let's see. That needs to be seen. But if you're a trader who's just looking for trade setups, the euro, good on the break. So unless you're already buying from 106.75, 106.80ish, you will be much more reluctant to cash back in some and try to see if it can break on the higher side. And pound, I think, still got a chance that it can do about 52.15, 52.20, unless it's a very good numbers from UK, and at the same time dollar start doing it's up or it's up for a retrace, and probably you can see further breakout. But as of right now, I would I would assume that 52.15, 52.20 would be a good number to try back onto the short if it comes in. As of right now, it does look bearish that this is it. But overall, this is a simple layout. It's been done so many times, shown so many times. Very interested in seeing a retest towards here. And the only thing that's standing in between is that where we held off. So maybe come down under 1.4995, 1.50 handle. I think we are in for some move down towards 47.80, 47.70, depending how soon or later it comes in. Same thing was there on the daily, and I think I covered this on numerous occasions. The daily was having a little bit more to go on the downside, but apparently 8 hours came in and did the trick. So let's see how it goes. The 5500 on the higher side still stands in, stood its ground, and there was a pulse report that was especially dedicated to the dollar, sorry, to the pound, and the 55 and the 50-20ish. That was the number in between the break that was already done on the 8 hours, which is this one right here. It's this one right here. So, full retrace again needs to come back here. So let's see how it goes and does. Canadian, Canadian looks pretty simple. Playing above the break on the 2 hours, and I think there is forming. Sorry. Just to look at it tells me that slightly carrying a bull flat view. It's carrying a bull flat view, so still plenty of time to go, and probably can come down one more time on the downside. So maybe play the breaks. That would be 2 hours, probably about 32.90, 92. So start getting closing about 32.90, 90 in a chain, then it would imply that there's more to come. Otherwise, as of right now, looking at the layout, I would prefer to go and I would like to see it dipping a little bit, towards maybe 32, 20, 25, 32, 33, and I'll be a willing buyer towards here, based on the formation, based on the pattern that this is a bull flag. So even a small simple target would be somewhere around 33.30. So how it looks on the charts, if I do it, it would look something like this. That of course the best buy would be an impact down here, right? And then probably this is where you can attempt to buy and see if it hits back here, probably swing and then break and then carry on towards at least 33.30, 33.40. So not a great trade setup, and it's a good bull flag so far. So that would imply, this probably end up mimicking what we call that the dollar, but the dollar one is not showing a good one. So either you play on the breakout, then you have to be worried about the volume, because I think the US and Canada is off today. So I would be, of course, you look for a point of entry, decent point of entry will be somewhere around 32, 25, 32, 35, my guess. So by the time it comes and test it, so these are the zones. So if it starts to swing out here on the lower side, then probably the crosses will show a slight, it will follow the same way that's needed. This coming in, then I will be looking on crosses on Canadian to fall down, so I can buy on this. So that's in for Canadian dollar. How does it look on the bigger picture? This is another one that I'm looking for a long time. So this is a breakout of the channel. So overall, Canadian does look like wants to go and tap on the lower side, and the reason behind is that we're playing under the break, and now we start forming what it looks like from between this black trend line and this trend line. I need this. So between T3 and T4 we have a bear flag. So but the top of the flag here, it comes somewhere around I would say by the time probably going to come down, probably about 3400 zone. So that would be a number that can still come in, but then see, these are the things that are indicating that move up on the dollar and then probably decline down, and probably dollar just even though the factors that's turning up for the dollar fundamentally are coming in stronger with the rate cuts, with the rate hikes, and other nations are looking for at least for the euro that's looking for rate cuts, and Aussie and New Zealand are not doing too good either. But still, these are things that are indicating that I need to be cautious. Any upswing on the dollar, I would need to be prepared for seeing that chances of dollar failing out. So or decent retraces up on the card. So you know. Uh, Go with the short-term span, maybe work the bull flag out. But the bigger term is that anything close to 3,400, that would be a better zone to go in short, and then watch out the bear flag working out. So of course, I'm not considering the swing in between that's going to go on, and eventually, if you can get a break here, so that would imply you're at least getting a newer low than this. So another attempt back towards 28, 30, or could be a formation double bottoms are here. So that's a good play out if you're looking for along the structure, for days or weeks. Keep that could play out pretty well. So 3,400, or if it drags much more on the higher side, 3,400, 3,420, 3,430, depending on how soon it comes in. It is inclining, so as it drags on, the level will start increasing a little bit. So with that, quickly on the Aussie. Aussie has been able to bounce back up. It is very complicated on the charts. Uh, it's been working this breakout. So, and it's a forced channel, but at least the supported trend line is still here. So, open mind on the Aussie is that though forming a temporary base, but then it can fall down basically. So I'm kind of neutral on that, rather not touch this bear, but I would be reluctant to buy off T4. So anything today, or let's say by the end of the week, by Friday, if I get something around 69.50, 69.55, I wouldn't mind buying it. So at least I know from there I've got a scope down for here. So unless it breaks on the higher side, then we can start moving on the higher side. Which again, from the dollar point of view, dollar is swing on the higher side, Aussie swing on the lower side, and dollar swing for a retrace, and then Aussie swing for a retrace. So I would not be surprised if we break under 70.10, 70.15 and hit down for 69.50, 69.60. Actually, that would be a good deal. So I don't do normally NZD, but let's see what it has to say. Pin it up on the 8 hour. Oh, New Zealand just might have done the low. New Zealand just might have done the low. So maybe another retest down towards 6,500. And a bounce that could be taken down as a buy. And how far? I think. This is a tentative target, not an exact or anything, but I'm just looking at the read. So this looks like a good break zone. It's got a test here, almost a retest here, so maybe if the dollar swings on the higher side, maybe another test here, 6,500, so 6,500 comes in critical, 6,490, 6,500, against the possible 150, 160 pips on the higher side. So, it does look, I would be tempted to see another move down towards 6,490, 6,500 and start getting a bounce. I'll be willing to go and buy on this for about 100, 140, 150 pips back towards here. So yeah, not a very a pair that I'm very fond of, but nevertheless, it's got to show that they can work out that way. Euro CAD, that will do some crosses. And I'm looking at this trend line. Yesterday I had a little bit going on the euro CAD on the long side, but apparently it faltered. Anyways, coming down to the point, I'm looking at about 4270ish, maybe 4280ish as a strike zone on the higher side. Failure and go in short, but then apparently this is we already gunned up on the short side between 65 and 70. We're looking at this small zone here, and there were attempts to go in longs here, and, worked out to halfway before it starts falling, and then this starts falling, carving up and coming back. So initially, as of right now, I think we have a range that's up to, if I go from break to break structure between this break zone and retest, full retest, excuse me, 4270ish, maybe up to 4280ish as per the 2 hours. And a hold down here would incline that we're probably going to come back and test at least around 4200, 42.5, and that could be viewed, a playoff from the Canadian, that probably Canadian comes down and do the base of the bull flag that I showed, and then hit back in again. So as of right now, on a pattern view, I would be much more happy to go and buy EuroCAD of 42.05, around 4200 handle. I will be happy to buy it, depending, looking at the formation on the USD Canadian dollar with the bull flag. But the only caution I will take is that Dragon will be coming in, and Euro will be at mercy on that. So unless Euro drops supersedes the inclination of the USD CAD, then probably we can get a break underneath here, and that break, if it's coming in, then I'm going to switch back out here to 4 hours and look for 41, about 41.15, 41.20 would be my number, and I wouldn't mind going long from there. It's a very good, declining supporting trend line, but eventually, I would assume, in case if we get another strike out here, potential that we can break on the higher side and challenge somewhere around 43, maybe up to 4400. So it looks pretty good on the setup. The only question is that whether the buy is going to be from 42, off from 4200, or down from 4115, or around 4100 handle. So that's a question that's going to come in. Canadian on a pattern, I would have no hesitation buying it off 42.05, 42.10. I'm a willing buyer on pattern. So looking at the Canadian, if it drops down earlier to the base of the bull flag, I think 4200 is a good buy out here. But then we have to negate Mr. Draghi and what Mario is going to say later on. So bit of caution, but implies eventually long side. So this is how I'm going to put it. You are simply put it stuck between, it needs to, again, mercy on how Draghi comes in, tells it 52, almost 5300 zone is your good resistance out here. On the downside, probably for today, if I see a number that's striking down for 50-50ish, I'm a willing buyer. I'm a willing buyer on this, of this zone. Maybe a tad lower actually. It would be a tad lower. Yeah, 50-30ish. So yeah, 50-40. I'm a willing buyer on euro. So unless it goes on the break on the higher side, then probably it's gonna be how far I can go. Well, I think it opens up for a 5400 move, but if I can get a buyout from here, then maybe, depends. Not too. I mean, I don't fancy too much Actually, this is a good part out here. So maybe 50, let's say 52.95, 5300 break points to about 80, 90 pips on the higher side. Similarly on the downside, I think this is a good supporting trend line out here, which is about 51. I would say, let's say 51.70, or what was the low here? Low 51.75. Yeah, 51.70 is a break point on Aussie that can probably get it going for a move down towards 50, 30, 50, 40. So you can look out to play on a breakup. I would prefer move down towards as of the way it has been structured, and move down towards 50, 35, 50, 40 to go and initiate buys for a move at least back up towards this break point 51.70. And so it's not a bad deal out there. How you do it? Again, draggy to come, and let's see how it goes out there. Pound Canadian. Pound Canadian has a right now, it's on resistance. As of right now, it is on resistance. It gave a strike out here, took it a little bit, and then it's back out here. So again, maybe again the UK number is going to be there too. I would generally prefer a move down. But then if the if the pound is falling and at the same time Canadian is falling, this is probably just gonna. Anyways, regardless of what your target might be, the full target would be somewhere around 95, 60, 95, 70. So, this is a huge move. Sorry, 99, 60, 70. So there's a lot of pip to be taken out. But then, even if you want to just do it, quick out, quick in, quick out, probably about, still 100 pips, 120 pips is still up for a grab. This is a good zone. I don't think so, unless a very strong number from UK. Otherwise, this is a good breakout zone. Normally, I don't see it breaking just like that. So unless a strong number comes in, okay, this is another view. So yeah, it might spike up a little bit on that trend line. I'm not ignoring on that, but this is on a break. This is already playing under a break. So yeah, I would prefer pound Canadian on the downside. So that would imply that I need to check quickly on the euro pound how it's doing out there. I covered this up on the Monday, and I was assuming that it will hold down here. It tried, but it did break, and that's when we saw counter up on the pound and the euro. Pound went up and euro came down. This is very. I'll be very honest. This is not making too much good sense. Euro pound shows a decline. It straight out showed a decline. So I will hold my view on the euro pound to myself. I don't want to complicate things up with for others, but then I would assume a decline double base out here. So an open mind that we can calm down and we can hit a base out here. That does shows that as of right now, technically, pound has got more favor as compared to the euro, especially if you're looking at the bids. So with that, I'm gonna move on to pound Aussie. Pound Aussie is on it's done a good zone. Let's not complicate things. I'm looking for a strike down here. So pound technically does show a move on the lower side, but if euro pound shows that pound is a better bid than euro, then where would euro add up to? Anyways, things can change, because if euro pound reverses out, then I think pound is in a lot of trouble. It's already showing. This is 4 hours on. This is the same thing what we saw on the pound Canadian. That's what I mean. That they don't normally let go just right in there. But then that does not imply that we cannot go and swing back one more time on the higher side towards D2 or 2.1560-ish. Up on the news, considering there are some spikes. So, but it looks good for a drop. It looks good for a drop. The only thing is that how to digest or how to factor in the pound news. But this was a good song to set, nevertheless. Uh, what else? This is a setup I've shown a couple of weeks back. That's in 8 hours. We were hitting, when I showed you, we were hitting right here. Had a move that's coming up. It held it to that zone, break it, retesting it, and I think NJ is coming down. So yeah, she could be looking for some kind of strength uh, on the yen against at least against the New Zealand dollar. So the only question is that if we are going to have another test on the higher side, I think the tests are done. But this is just take it as a tentative view. People who are already trading in the direction is on the lower side. There's a higher chances of 79, 60, 79, 70 getting printed than probably getting a break on the higher side towards these highs. So just a tentative view. Aussie CAD in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. But probably looking for a breakout. Probably looking for a breakout. So, short term, we might just break out a little bit here, right? We just might do that. But this is a slope area. Just a tentative view. I would prefer a move down towards maybe 92.80 than going for a buy. That's me, but then, just a tentative view from where it is looking at right now. Okay, Japanese. Just looking at the factor, if you pin it off, if you pin it, then this is what you get out of it. You get a head, a left shoulder zone, right shoulder zone. So maybe if this is around the neck, so maybe here, one down, and then probably up. Take it as a, for a pattern point of view, this could be it, in working. But rest assured, this is a one choppy. This is even with a pattern, this will stay choppy. Maybe another strike somewhere around 91.50 attempts for buys, especially if you've already hit 93.50. So somewhere around here, you can start looking for a sell. Take it down for painfully 120, 130, or 100, maybe 150 pips drop, and then reverse back in anticipation that we're going to break on the higher side. Just a pattern that I'm from here to here. That's what I'm looking at. Inverse head and shoulder, which makes somewhere around here the neckline. Of course, this is tentative view. That's been if I have to actually lay it out, then I will do it properly. I will get the exact numbers and all that. But I wanna be wrapping the session up. See what S&P has to say. S&P just may have made a temp top. I was hoping that it goes about at least about 2140, 2150. So it's working under the break as of right now. So actually, not exactly. High time frame prevails, but I'm looking at possible double heads, left, right. So where is the break zone? maybe can decline down towards 2050-ish buy zone, 2050-ish. No problem saying it out that if it comes down here, you got a very good buy. So I would still assume another move on the higher side, considering this is break zone. And maybe one thing for sure, it's not gonna be any fast move up and down, but then maybe a decline down here, then swing back up towards here. This is my best guess. Something. This is the way I'll sketch it. Maybe swing higher, then drag here, then here, and then way back. So May 2150. If it comes down there, you'll see some interest on the buy side. And I think with that, I'll wrap it up. Euro pound. This is getting frustrated out here on the Euro pound, sorry, Euro Japanese. Though personally would like to move down towards 129. This is a way better trend line that needs to be retested. So, but this is a very shitty price action at the moment. It's been supportive, so maybe need a close under 131.50, 55 for decline down towards 129. And with that, I want to conclude the webinar. I hope everybody have a fruitful day and keep on pipping. And thank you very much.